I don't know just what about checking in here. She is with another customer right now. It's just a case I'll just I'll just tell her that you called us and I'll give her your direct number, 775209877, and I'll just advise her to call you back once she's done.
You know, it would be a lot better if you emailed me any questions that you have so that I can, if there's documentation you need, I can send it to you. It's just a recommendation. Phone calls really don't work too well. Email is far better, and I'm not quite sure why you're using the phone instead of email, but that's your deal. It's your business, not mine.
I do understand, and I do apologize for this one. And we do have here your email. I just want to make sure we do have the correct one. B for Douglas, J for Joseph, HERICH at yahoo.com.
That is correct. And I've already received several messages from you, so I know you've got the right address. So if she's having, because I'm busy too, and instead of playing phone tag, what she may want to do, if she's got some specific questions that she needs answered, then she should probably put them in the form of, an email, something in writing, and send them to me. If it's something simple, I don't understand why I can't just answer that question with you, and then we're done. Then I try to be efficient in my day-to-day business handling, and this doesn't seem very efficient. So is there anyone else that can handle any questions that D&B has? I want to take care of this right now, in other words, because I have meetings all day.
I see. And no worries, Douglas, I'll just advise her about whatever inquiries she is going to ask you. I'll just, Joseph, the person on your account would like to talk to you right now. And I'm about to transfer you now, just okay?
Oh, good. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
And just 1 second.
Okay.
Just give me 1 minute. I'm just waiting for her extension number.
And who is it that I'll be speaking to?
Rowan Lazala.
Rowan Lazella. Okay. And is she going to be my contact going forward?
Yes, you're right, because she is the person handling your account, and I don't have an access to your account.
Okay, very good. So she's a salesperson, right?
All I know, they are updating a business report, and they are not with sales department. They are from a different department.
Okay.
And we are from trade investigation department. And yes, Douglas, I'm about to transfer you now, and you can ask whatever questions that you may have. And I really do apologize for the inconvenience that I didn't have some answers to your question.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
I'm transferring you now.
All right.
Good afternoon. This is Brian. Are you calling about the reference number 2105480?
Yes, I sure am.
Am I speaking with Douglas Joseph?
Yes, I'm the name holder and attorney in fact. Yes, I am.
Okay, and we were calling you to confirm the request to update the business information report.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, before we proceed, let me just confirm if I have your first and last name correctly spelled. That means Douglas, and then Joseph. Last name is Herich.
Yes, that is correct, but you said your name. That name is owned by the state. So I just want to make sure you understand. I'm not claiming I own that name, because I don't. But I did register it, and it is official. And you have the paperwork to prove that. I just wanted to straighten that out. It's not my name. The state owns that name. I have something in writing that says the state of California owns it in case you need it, just to confirm it.
But what is your first and last name?
Wait a minute. When you say your, like I said, the first and last name is a creation of the state. That is not my name. I don't own it. The state does. And I have something in writing that says that they own the name. But they are letting me use it. So the first and last name that the state owns that they gave me to use is Douglas Herrick. DOUGLASHERICH. But that is not me. That is the assumed business name that I registered when they gave me. Okay, when they. Well, wait a minute. Please don't interrupt me. If I'm the customer, let me finish talking before you speak. I will afford you the same respect. So I'm just trying to explain to you so that you understand fully that name. Ma'am, please don't interrupt me. Please. I'm just going to ask you. If you keep doing it, I won't talk at all. So please, let me finish. Let me finish before you speak. I will afford you the same respect. Now, what I'm explaining to you is that Douglas Herrick is not me. I am the attorney in fact, and I'm the name holder for that person. It is registered with the Minnesota Secretary of State, and I want to correct the record so that you understand that that first and last name is owned by the state. It's not my name. It never was my name. It never was my name. At one time I thought it was because nobody told me otherwise, but now I figured it out. So I registered that name. That is the information that I emailed to D&B to have in the file in the event that there's any inquiries as to the legal status of that first and last name.
I get that because I have the information here. I have the papers that you submitted. Now, can I get your first and last name? I mean, who am I speaking with right now?
You're speaking to the name holder and the attorney in fact for the business, which is listed as Douglas Joseph Herrick. I am the name holder and attorney in fact, but I am not that person that is the business. That's impossible. I know it's kind of hard for you to maybe understand this, but the majority of people don't understand this. I do. I'm a businessman and I understand it. And that's why I registered that name. That's why you have the Minnesota Secretary of State's official documentation. Those founding business documents are legitimate. And if you have any questions about the legitimacy of those documents and who I am, you might want to call Bert Black. And Bert Black is the legal counsel for the Secretary of State in Minnesota. He's well aware that of what I'm doing, what I have done, and they will acknowledge that it's legitimate. In case you have any questions, is all I'm saying. And now I'm done speaking.
Okay. Can we proceed now with obtaining the profile for
Yes.
Joseph?
Yes.
I mean, for the business. Okay. So, assumed business name is Douglas Joseph Herrick.
Correct.
And aside from that, do you have a DBA? I mean, do you go by any other name?
Do I go by any other name? Is that what you asked me?
Style, yes.
Okay. So when you ask a question like that, it leads me to believe you still don't understand. Douglas Joseph Herrick is not me. So the proper way to ask that is, does my business go by any other name? And the answer would be, well, sometimes actors may use it and just eliminate the middle name. So Douglas Herrick is oftentimes used because that's the first and last name. And that's really the only name that the state recognizes is the first and last name. That Christian name, that middle name, is not really necessary, but it was on the certificate of live birth that was issued by the state of California. That's the name that they own. So I used it, but they've indicated to me that Joseph is an optional name. It doesn't have to be included. So the only other name that would be known as is Douglas Herrick, but sometimes they'll put an initial, Douglas J. Herrick. So those are all the same business, but none of those things are me. So if you're referring to me, it would always be Douglas Joseph. There would be no Herrick, because Herrick, I don't have a last name. I do have a surname, but that's where I came from. I inherited that. I didn't have a choice. The given name is what people call me to get my attention. But that first and last name is the business name, and it's only to be used for business. Only. And that's why I registered it, and that's why there is a distinction between the name holder, which I don't own that name. Like I said, the state owns it. I'm the holder. I'm the holder. So.
I'm sorry to cut you off now. For the physical address, would that be 1170 Shady Lane in Paramount, Nevada 89060?
That is correct.
Is there a suite number or room number?
Nope.
Do you have a separate mailing address, like a P.O. box?
I have a separate mailing address. Yes, I do.
Can you have a P.O. box number, please?
It's not a P.O. box number.
Oh, okay. What's the separate mailing address, sir?
1970
Okay.
North Leslie, and that's spelled L as in Lisa or like, E, S as in Sam, L as in Lisa, I, E, and that's street, and it's suite 453.
453. Okay.
And that's in Pahrump, and that's also 89060.
Okay, I have 1970 North Leslie Street in Pahrump, Nevada 89060, and that's suite 453.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and telephone number we have on file is 775-751-7681.
Nope. I don't know where you got that number. I have no idea where you got that number. I've never had a number like that, but the number I'm calling from is the number that I provided, and it's 775-209-8727.
Okay, that'll be 775-209-8727.
And you know that number that you gave me, that could have been from like 4 years ago when I first realized this, and so that's why the number is probably there. That's why you picked it up. So yeah, the number I just gave you is the good number. That old number is non-existent.
Okay, sure. I'll have that updated. And would this be the best email address? I have a P for Douglas, J for Joseph, and then your last name, HERICH @yahoo.com.
Well, it's not my last name. You keep saying your last name, but yeah, that is correct. That is the business email address. That is correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. And who should we list as highest ranking officer or the owner of the business?
Well, the owner of the business is the sole proprietor, which is the legal name. The legal name is created by the state. So I don't own anything, okay? I told you what I am. I am the name holder and attorney in fact. So you can list, if you're going to list, if you look at the assumed name certificate where it lists the name holder, you'll notice there's no first and last name. It's a surname with a comma and then a given name. That, if you're referring to me, that is the way to address me. If you address me as Douglas Herrick, you're addressing the business, not me. Just so that you understand, Herrick, comma, Douglas Joseph is not a last name with a comma and a first and a middle name. It has never been that. It's always been a surname, comma, given name. We're just misled to believe that that's what it is. But a surname and a given name are the opposite of what a first and a last name is. Because a first and a last name is not alive. It's an entity. Whereas a surname, comma, given name is always going to be a man, a woman, or it could be a child. But it's going to be someone who can talk to me, that's alive. It's not going to be a business, because a business, you can't talk to a business. I can't talk to Dun & Bradstreet, but I can talk to you, and you're an employee for Dun & Bradstreet. This business doesn't have any employees, 0 employees. I'm just the name holder, so I control all the assets that are owned by that business. So the sole proprietor is Douglas Joseph Herrick, and the sole proprietorship is Douglas Joseph Herrick. They're the same.
Okay.
They're the same, but neither one of them are me. So it technically, I guess you could say, well, since the state owns that name, they created it, then they could ask for it back. So if they ask for it back, then I'm going to have to notify you, but it's the same thing with the tax identifier that's associated with that name. That tax identifier is a business tax ID. And if they take that back, then this business can't transact business anymore. So it's up to the state as to whether they have a problem with the way it's transacting business. And so far, I've gotten green lights from every official I've spoken to. So I'm not breaking the law. I'm actually in full compliance with the law. So if you think I'm breaking the law or there's any compliance issues, please bring it to my attention so I can address them immediately.
Okay. And this thing was registered in Minnesota, right? And
this thing?
that would be, yes.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's a business.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not a thing. A thing is not a business. A business is a business.
Okay, so the business was registered in 2015 in Minnesota, right?
That is correct. With the Secretary of State. Would you like their phone number?
No.
Okay.
And like I said, I have the papers that you submitted here for my reference, okay?
All right.
All right. And sir, can I just have your birth year? Just the year.
It would be 1957.
Okay, thank you. Any other officers that should be added on this report or no?
There are no officers to begin with. So when you say any other, there aren't any officers in the first place. What do you have listed as an officer? I need to know.
This is a sole proprietor, right? You've mentioned that.
Okay, so the sole proprietor is the legal name that's on the certificate of live birth, which was created by the state and given to me to use. That's the sole proprietor. It's not me. So the sole proprietorship is the business that was created when I took that legal name that's owned by the state that was given to me to use and registered it. So the sole proprietor could be considered the owner, is owned by the state. So you could say the state, any debt that's associated with that would be state debt. Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. Now moving on, what is the main line of business?
Asset management.
Okay. And that's 100% of what you do as a business, right? Asset management.
I manage the assets that are owned, held in the name of and owned by Douglas Joseph Herrick. Yes.
Okay. And are you, 1970 North, 1170 Shady Lane, is that your home address?
No, that is the business address.
Okay.
There's no need for you to have a home address. There's no need for a home address. This is a business listing.
I'm trying to confirm the address if that is residential or commercial space. So
Uh,
you've answered
okay,
that.
so the state determines that that address is considered a residence for Douglas Joseph Herrick. And a residence is not a domicile. So the residence is 1170 Shady Lane. But if you're asking if I live there, the answer is no. That is a business address. You don't need to know where I live. You need to know the residence and the address of the business. And that's what I've given you.
Okay.
Is there any other questions?
Are there, I mean, how many employees are working for this business in total?
0 employees.
Who are your clients?
My clients? Well, that would be proprietary.
Clients or customers?
Right, that is proprietary information. I can't hand out. I can't give you.
General public?
Anyone that does business
Okay.
with Douglas Joseph Herrick has to go through me, and anyone can do business with that business. I'm not exclusive. I'll include anyone that wants to contract with that business, but I'm the one that makes that decision. I'm the one that signs the contracts as the attorney in fact.
Okay. And are you doing business, I mean, for the territory? Would that be local, regional, nationwide, US and Canada?
All over the world. International.
Okay. Any other locations?
Nope. No need to.
How much was the revenue from last year?
That is proprietary information.
Okay. Just so you know, we're just asking for that to showcase the business,
There's no reporting requirements for sole proprietorships. And for the security of my clients and the business, I don't disclose that information.
it's okay, all right. Okay, so we'll be updating the report for Douglas and Joseph Herrick, and this will be available after 24 to 48 hours.
Fantastic. And I have one question for you. When I looked at the information that D&B has on file right now, they list an account, although they don't show any information about the creditor, and it shows something about a $750 balance, and it doesn't say that it's past due, and it doesn't really indicate that it's owed, but it's just kind of strange that it's on the report, but it doesn't say what it's for, who the creditor is. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah. I'm sorry to tell you, but I won't be able to help you with that. That's being handled by a different department. What I can do is provide you the best phone number. Do you have a pen and paper handy?
I sure do.
Okay. Just tell me whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, 866-328-2375.
And who do I ask for?
You can tell them you're concerned about the payment.
Okay. All right.
Okay. But with regards to updating the profile for Douglas Joseph Herrick, I'll be updating that, and changes will reflect after 24 to 48 hours. Okay?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your help.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Was it DMV?
No, that was done in Bradstreet.
Oh.
And I got to stop this. I recorded